night to my NCM 102 students. So today let's discuss another discussion. It's like a short discussion. So I want you to prepare for our long quiz tomorrow, 'di ba? May pa-long quiz. So today we have to tackle Piaget theory of cognitive development, and as we go along, we have also to discuss the Lawrence Kohlberg moral development theory. So I would like to encourage everybody to please memorize, or if you can't memorize, just familiarize the concepts, the milestone, and the development stages of each name of the theorist. So from Erickson's to Piaget to Sigmund Freud and to Lawrence Kohlberg moral development theory. Okay? So the first theory that I would like to discuss to you this morning is Piaget theory of cognitive development. So now let's focus on the cognitive aspects or the cognitive development aspects. So there's what we call a universal constructivist perspective. It's the child construct reality by interacting with the environment and has qualitative differences in how they think about things at different ages. Of course, as we go along, like kung pansin niyo ang mga bata, 'di ba? In each stage development nila, lahi og milestone, lahi sila mo perceive sa ilang environmental aspects, sa social aspects like that. So it's like a qualitative process. There's qualitative differences with regards to their development or stages. And now let's discuss some of the key concepts that we have to tackle, since these terms that I'll be mentioning later on will help us to understand the different milestone as we go along with our lecture. The first one is mental structures. This begins with reflexes and infancy, evolving into schemata and more complex structures. So schema is a mental concept formed through experiences with object and events. It's like with a mental concept, or it's a mental identity that we form as we go along with our life experiences, or events on some of the objects that we encountered during that specific stage of life. Then we see schemata is a building blocks of cognitive structures. Operation is what we call a mental actions allowing children to interact with the environment using their minds and body. Organization naman is humans have natural and innate tendency to organize their relationship with the environment. Okay. Next would be there are 4 stages of cognitive development according to Jean Piaget. Okay, the first one is sensorimotor. From the word sensorimotor, it's like sensation plus your motor ability. From birth to 2 years old, the infant knows the world through their movements and sensation. So basic actions such as sucking, grasping, looking, and listening. So infants at this stage learn that things continue to exist even although they cannot be seen. This is what we call object permanence. So object permanence, bisan 'di ba mapansin niyo sa mga bata, although dili nila makita, i-hide nimo ng kuan, i-hide mo for example ang object, ang bata is magkunahon na gyapon na siya, nga nag-exist gyapon na siya. It's because they have this thing that we called object permanence. Okay, please take note for this term, object permanence. Sa asa na edad, of course, 0 to 2 years old, from the cognitive development of Jean Piaget. Cognitive development at this stage takes place over a relatively short period of time. It's because super bata pa sila, so the development in their cognitive ability is super short lang ilang development at this stage. So the primary language or learn language from people whom they interact. Di ba usually, mo na, kung gusto niyo unsang language ang matunan sa inyong anak pohon, ni make sure na maugin na inyong language, the interaction language na madungog sa bata. Okay, from 0 to 2 years old. The second one would be pre-operational stage from 2 to 7 years old. Okay, from 0 to 2 to 7 years old. So children begin to think symbolically and learn to use words and pictures to represent objects. Okay? Egocentric, they're egocentric and struggle to see things from perspective of others. Okay? They often struggle with understanding the idea of constancy. The third one would be, I don't need to elaborate it more because it's self-explanatory. I know you can understand all the terms, all the concepts that being presented on that stage. Okay, the concrete operational stage from 7 to 11 years old. So now children begin to think logically about concrete events. So they begin to understand the concept of conservation. So example, the amount of liquid in short, wide cup is just like equal to a tall, skinny glass. So, di ba, kung dito na siya sa second stage is the pre-operational stage, di gina sila maka-identify nga equal amount ra na siya. Like they think na mas daghan dira, although pareha silang equal ang volume, makaingon sila nga dili, mas dako gyud tong taas, mas daghan gyud to, di ba? But in this concrete operational stage, they are now able to identify, and they are already adapting the concept of conservation. Kabalo na sila nga, it's just like equal volume lang, although na ay gamay nga baso nga, gamay na taas, and then na ay short and wide. It's like same volume pa rin. Kasi they are now able to understand that concept. So they begin to use inductive logic or reasoning. Kasi inductive from specific to general information. That's induct. Okay? Less egocentric. They are less egocentric here in this stage. Begin to think of how other people feelings. So they are sensitive to feelings of others. The fourth one would be the formal operational stage from 12 and up. Okay? So don't forget the milestone, the age here. So adolescents or young adults begin to think abstractly and reason about hypothetical problems. So abstract thought emerges and teen begin to think more logically and ethically. So begins to use deductive form of reasoning. When deductive is like from general to specific form of reasoning. Now, let's proceed to, let's see how many minutes, kasi it's like a short, it's like a short discussion for today. A moral development of theory by Lawrence Kohlberg. So, there are 3 levels, okay? Moral Kohlbergs, guys, na ay 3 levels, but at the same time, na ay 6 stages. Okay, 3 levels and 6 stages. First one is pre-conventional level. So, in pre-conventional level, na ay duha ka stage 1 and stage 2. So, stage 1, like a punishment and obedience orientation. So, they're ego-centered, they're self-centered, and they have obedience to figure of authority brought about by fear of physical punishment. So, they are trying to obey. It's because they have fear of physical punishment. So, maunang pre-conventional sa stage 1. Sa stage 2 naman, instrumental relativist orientation. So, it's concerned with satisfying oneself at the expense of others. So, doing something for others based on what gain or benefit she can derive from a favor done. So, guys, kung nga na mo karon, naramam sa pre-conventional level. Charot lang bitaw. So, usually, guys, there is stage 2. Mga na ang mga manifestation. Usually, they try to help other people because they want others also to give back the favor. So, ganyan ang pre-conventional. The second one would be conventional level. So, naatay stage 3 and stage 4. So, stage 3, good boy and nice girl orientation. So, the child becomes other-directed and concerned is for social approval and acceptance. So, thus, behavior confirms to accept social and traditional norms or practices. So, manaan siya ka na, they are able to present yourself as a good girl or properly girl-oriented with different happiness in their surroundings. So, stage 4 naman, there are law and order orientation already, meaning decisions are based on the rule of the law, honor, and commitment to duty. Okay, so that's the stage 4 where they are being oriented already by the law. It means decisions are based on the rule of the law and honor and commitment to duty. So the third one would be post-conventional level. So there are actually 2 stages, the 5 and 6. So this stage 5, there are more socially oriented, okay, socially contract oriented. So it depends on the social contract, written documents, abstract thing, and highly legalistic concerns. So they are more reliable to what is the law in that community, or they are law-abiding citizen already, so they're relying to the what is the proper law again implemented. So believes in the saying that the law must be for the greatest number of people. In the stage 6 is universal and ethical principle orientation. Means that they behaves accordingly to the concept of universal justice. So they are not pasaway na. So respect for human rights and upholding the principles of dignity, equality, and justice. So that's the moral development of Lawrence Kohlberg. So I want you guys to prepare and to utilize your remaining time to study the lectures from the beginning of our lecture sa second month after this topic, because we'll be having our long quiz as a form of assessment, and it will be conducted. We'll be utilizing our Zoom app at this, your Zoom application at this time. So I want you guys to install your Zoom, kasi I think this is my first time using Zoom or introducing Zoom sa ako NCM 102 students. So you just have to install your Zoom and then update it and try to make sure that you have really good strong connection for tomorrow's quiz. Okay, so that would be all, guys. Thanks for listening.